Okay, welcome to this lecture. And today we are going to be discussing a couple of things and as far as computer networking is concerned. And today we are going to tackle more specifically something related to client-server infrastructure. I call upon everyone who installed the Windows Server that I asked you to install and Windows XP to follow along with my video so that you can be able to do the rest of the stuff. So I assume you installed the server and XP and you can ping vice versa. We are going to set up client server infrastructure. What is our aim? Our aim is prior to this video, you installed the server and you installed the client. When you finish installation of the server, actually with Windows OS server, once you load it in a machine, that machine is a server, but it's not a full server. It's called a member server. Whereas when you load a desktop operating system in a client or a workstation, it becomes a client. Therefore, a member server can be promoted. Promotion is not given a rank, rather being elevated capability, being given some capability to oversee or simply to be given capability to have this capability of we can be able to administer Windows clients from the server itself. And so that specific server is called not a member server, but is promoted to a domain controller. A domain controller, it makes our infrastructure functional. So for a DC to be a DC, it needs to be promoted as I mentioned. What does it mean to be promoted? It requires us to deploy what we call Active Directory. Okay, so what is Active Directory? Active Directory is referred to as a database that contains network objects. Network objects we can name users, computers, okay, we can name users, computers, shared resources, and so on and so forth. Anything that we can share on the network is referred to as a network object. So how do we promote a member server to a DC? Actually, you go to the machine itself, the server, and then you go to run. You write DC promo. DC promo stands for domain controller promoter, domain controller promoter. And then definitely you're going to follow the wizard until you are asked to enter the domain name. For our case, we're going to define our domain name and we are going to call it computer.org. Domain, if you remember, it's anything to do with auka.com, rdb.gov.rw, anything related to cnn.com, something like that. So we are going to define a domain, and our domain is going to be computer.org, or simply we can call it computer cnet. Okay, we're going to call it, let's call it cnet.org. Okay, computernetwork.org. Okay, so that at least you have an idea of what a domain can be. Okay, something like this. Okay, once we have a DC, we need to have all clients join the domain. How do we join the client to the domain? You go to the client itself, okay, then you click on my computer properties, and then you go to my computer name, you go to change, then you type the domain name. In this case, we're going to type something like we'll type go ahead and type something like cnet. Okay, whether we do it in capital or small letter doesn't matter. Then it will ask us to prompt us to enter admin password, which we have configured on the server, and afterwards the client will be administered, or simply it will join the domain, and afterwards it's going to be administered from the server itself. How to administer client from the server itself? Actually, you've got to do one thing. The AD, Active Directory, has got network objects, among others. We say, where is it? It's somewhere here. We said that Active Directory is something like a database that contains network objects. Here we have users, computers, and everything. So this machine that has joined the domain, okay, this machine that has joined the domain, immediately we are going to find it in the in the list of objects in the Active Directory, and I'll show you where we find that after creating, of course, the Active Directory. So under the Active Directory, we can still create some objects, organization units. Organization units are referred to as some groups. They are groups. We try to make some groups which related to class. For example, if we make a class of computer network, we can make another one of object oriented, we can make another one of C++ and so on and so forth. Now, these ones under the OUs, we can be able to create users. These users are used to log in, to help us log in the users. Actually, not the users per se, to log into the client so that you can be able to do something. And of course, why did I explain this before? Because I'm going to do everything I said. So what can you do after creating the users in the Active Directory or in the organization unit? We can go in the client, okay? These users are used to log in the clients, and what can you be able to do? From the server, you can be able to block users to have login access powers, okay? You can be able to share directories and we map them on the client. You can be able to allow remote desktop and so on and so forth. If we achieve this today, it will be more than enough. So let's get started and see how everything runs. Number one, we are going to launch our server, okay? We're going to launch our server. Our server, what are we going to do on the server? Number one, let's do full screen, okay? Number one, we are going to definitely, as we mentioned, we are going to have our I didn't configure password yet, so I have no password. So I'll have to make this screen a bit bigger so that at least when I configure, you'll be able to see what I'm doing, okay? So now, number one thing, this is my server, and I'm going to type ncpa.cpl. Once I do like this, I can be able to configure an IP address. Okay, I'll be quick, but of course, since you're going to use that video, you're going to put it into pause mode. So allow me to use a /28 192.168. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's go. 192.168 10.1.2, because dot 1 is going to be the gateway. I'll use a /28, which is 240, and then 192.168.10.1. And please remember to put the DNS gateway, DNS, Google DNS, so that at least it will be easy for you to be able to surf through. It's very important to put DNS. Okay, and I do like this, and then here I'm done. Remember, once you do like this, for someone who has never followed what we did in the past, you have to come on your server here, right click, and make sure that your machine, you got in the network, you don't use attach it to NAT, rather you do bridge the network. Why? And of course, you either put it on wireless or wired, okay? Whether you put it on wireless or wired, it doesn't matter, okay? But it matters a lot to put it into bridge mode. You choose a network card that is very common. And here also I do the same, right click, settings, then I go to network and I do bridge wireless, and I'm good. If you don't do this, your machines will not be able to communicate. So I'll go to Windows, this is the server. I'll go to Windows XP, I'll do the same. What do I do? Where is my Windows XP? Where are you, XP? I'll do like this, then I show. Okay. I have to make sure that I figure out where my screen is. This is my server. So let me launch my Windows XP. It's being launched, but in a hidden mode. I wonder why. Show. It's here. I wonder why it's not being launched. It's misbehaving, but nevertheless, I have to make sure that I pull it up. This XP of mine, it's not coming forth. I wonder why. So what I do, allow me to do this. It's not showing, so I reset it. I reboot it. Once I reboot it, Once I reboot it, it will show by all means. Okay, so what am I going to do with my XP? Definitely, I'm going to make sure that I also log into it. I don't have a password yet. Oh, there is a password. Okay, you have to configure yours. Then once I'm done, you have also to configure IP address. There I have 2, here I have to configure 3. Okay. As it shows up, allow me to go on the server. Allow me to go on the server. Go back on the server. The server is way down. It's here. So on the server, what I can do is, meanwhile, as I wait for my XP, let me check. My XP is here. Oh, it's here. Okay, it has come. I remember, what did we say about this thing? We said that this is a paper. Of course, if you know, you know. If you don't know, then you understand. You are lost. You don't know what a paper is and what I mean by this yellow triangle in the background having the exclamation mark, that is a black exclamation mark. So I'll come here. I do also ncpa.cpl. This is something that helps you get to network settings immediately without beating around the bush. And here you have to come and configure 192.168.10.3, 240. Remember, I'm using /28. 240, 192.168.10.1 as my gateway. Now on this one, allow me to do something. Allow me to do this. Allow me to configure IP address of my server as DNS on Windows XP, which is my client. Remember to configure your DNS IP address as your IP address from the server so that it points directly to the server to avoid any delays in as far as logging in is concerned. Okay, good. What can I do? What's next? Next, I have to ping 192.168.10.2. That's my server. I can be able to ping my server. From the client, from the server, can I ping the client? If you cannot ping the client, then you are in trouble. Some people will not be able to ping, and I'll tell you a reason why you're not pinging. Okay, and I'm on the server here. Let me go cmd, and I do 192.168.10.3. I can ping. I'm good. Now, if you cannot ping, you have to mind your business and go ahead and some of the people, they have this thing on, this thing called a firewall. If it's on like this, from the server, you're not to be able to ping. Look at this padlock, and it's a firewall. It's showing me it's firewall. So let me go back to the server. If I go on the server like this and I ping, oh, I'm likely to ping because I pinged before. But for the first time, you may not be lucky to ping. So you need to go here and remove the firewall. I know some people have got this before as an issue. So what's next? As I mentioned, since I'm done, I can ping, but there's nothing else I can do. What's next? I have to go on the server. I have to come on the server here, and I want to promote this machine of mine. I configured it with, I installed an operating system, Windows Server, but it's not a DC yet. It's a member server. Now time has come for me to deploy Active Directory by typing DC promo like this, and then I'll follow the wizard. Actually, since you guys are going to be doing this, I call upon you to be reading everything, all the instructions, but I'll be telling you in a nutshell what everything means. Here we are definitely going to deploy the Active Directory. They tell you different schemes, different operating systems from Windows 95 up to 2003, what was deployed and under which scheme actually. And once you do next, they ask you, or as you can see here, they ask you if you are creating a new domain or an additional domain. Of course, it's a new domain. Next, is it a new domain in a new forest? Previously, we have looked at how DNS works, and if you remember, we start from dot, we go down, it has a branch, it has all the trees. So this is what we are referring to. A new domain in a new forest, or a new forest in an existing domain, or a domain tree in an existing forest. The thing is, it's a domain in a new forest. Next, this is where they're asking us the domain name, cnet.org, okay, or .com or .net, whatever you want. Once you do like this, you are defining now your domain. This machine is going to be called a domain controller. Before, we had no issue. By the way, as it defines CMD, as it's going to install the domain controller, allow me, as it thinks about the domain and configuring it, allow me to configure the password for this machine. Net user administrator, net user, name of the administrator, and then I'll configure password. My password is going to be what? Let me call it what will be the best password? Which password do you like me to configure? Maybe let me configure cnet. No, let me ishushu. Okay, ishushu at 123 exclamation. Now I've created my password. This is how you configure password command line. And when you open your machine, and I can still log in your machine, actually not log in, when you leave your machine open like this, I can still go command line and be able, with this command, I can be able to change your machine password. So if someone is always leaving his machine open like this, wide open, you can go ahead and do him a trick and then change his password and have fun. Next. Now, this is where you store your database in as far as the database for domain controller is Active Directory is concerned. And do next. This is where the location where you store your NTFS volume, actually the file system and everything related to system volume, okay? And then you do next. And then you're going to have fun. We are deploying our Active Directory so that we can create organization units. We create our domain, our users, and then we go on the client joins the domain, and afterwards we're going to have fun. We're going to block users, we're going to do everything. Now, here we want to choose this, the middle option, because that's what suits us. The rest, they don't suit us because it's only wasting our time. We have to choose this one because this is the one that is compatible with Windows 2000 and above. This one concerns Windows 2000 and below. We're not interested with that. Next, we can put the password which we just configured, or we just ignore. We do next. The most important thing is here we are trying to ask ourselves, in case we want to restore our Active Directory, in case it has crashed, which password shall we make use of? Definitely we'll make use of the password which you have just configured, this one, okay? It's a system password actually, okay? Do next, and then you do next. Our Active Directory is being created. As it's created, allow me to pause a little bit because I don't want to waste my time waiting for it to finish. When it finishes, we are going to restart and then we'll move on. Allow me to pause for a. Okay, as you can see, it has finished, and it's a matter of now wrapping up with the final steps, and allow me to finish, and then I restart the machine. As it restarts, allow me to also pause once again for a minute. Okay, after a reboot, it looks like this, and so it's time to log in. Once I log in, if you have observed what happened my screen before it was like this only. But now, after the AD is added, or after my member server is promoted, if I click on options, you realize that the computer network is here already. So I'll have to log in using my password, Gishushu at. Once I log in, immediately you realize that I have my something new is popping up. If you can realize that a new program is installed. Once I click here and I go to accessories, you can realize that actually not something new per se, but where can I be able to track my Active Directory? I go through active administrative tools and go to Active Directory users and computers. Once I click here, immediately I'll see my AD popping up, or you can opt to use a shortcut dsa.msc. It also takes you to Active Directory. dsa.msc, it takes you here. What can you do here? This is my Active Directory actually. I'll make it bigger. You see, if you look at this, you realize that I have my cnet.org, the one I defined when I was prompted for domain. If I click on computer, I have no computer because no computer joined the domain yet. But if I click here, I have my users. We call them built-in users. I don't want to use built-in users. Rather, I want to go on computer network, right-click, I do new, then I create new organization unit. My first organization unit, I'll call it IT. And then this is a directory that will keep my users for IT. And the next one, I call it BA, business. I call it my OU, I call it BA. So within these two organization units, I can click IT and then log into IT. And then I can right-click, or simply I go to my OU, I do right-click, it's not coming. I don't know why my computer is so slow. All right, so once you click on the organization unit, you can be able to create users. You can create user number one. You can call him Chris. Another name is let's say Johnny. This guy is called Chris Johnny, and then his logo name is going to be Chris, okay, at cnet.org. This will help us later on when we set up our Exchange server, okay? The next, and then we're going to give him a password. You can decide to prompt him to change the password the first logon, or the user will not change his password and password never expires. If you do, account is disabled, the user will not be able to log in. And then I'll give him a password. Okay, I'll go back and give the password. Okay, once I give him the password, time has come for me to create another user. This one is called Chris with his respective password, and then this one is called this one is from BA. Right-click, or simply I can just click here and then I have my wizard prompted. So I'll wait for my user to prompt. I don't know why my machine is going so slow, but I'll have to bear with it. So you click here. My machine is so slow. You'll have to bear with me. So once you click, definitely you're going to have the wizard prompted, and then you'll have to also fill in the next user. In BA, I hit once again, yes. And then I'll have Joanna. Joanna, we call her Mutoni. Okay, Mutoni, and then username is going to be Joanna. And then we do next. We can ask Joanna to just let me leave it like that, and then she'll changing her password at the first logo. Okay. Once I do like this, you can ask me, why did you create this user? By the way, remember here I have no computer that has joined the domain yet. These users, I'll use them to log in my Windows XP, which I have not joined the domain yet. How do I make this machine to join the domain? I come here, I do right click on my computer, I do properties, everything is written in the notes, and of course you can still follow this this tutorial. So once I do like this, I can go on the domain, then I say CNET. Once I do CNET, I'm asked for username and password for the administrator, from the server, and then my password is Gishushu, if you remember, at 123, the exclamation mark. This machine is going to contact the server to ask permission, am I allowed to join you? And immediately the server is going to, actually we want to be a member of this domain, computer network. So the server is going to respond by telling me successfully joined, and afterwards I'm going to reboot, and I'll be a happy client that has already joined the domain, and I'll be under the dominion of that server. But welcome to CNET domain. That means I joined already. I do okay. Then I have to restart for the effects to take place. When I restart, I'll go on the server. I show you that it has also happened that in computers, I didn't have computer before, but once I refresh, I'll be able to have my, you see, my Windows XP is now here. Okay, I have different objects. I have network objects, actually the users. I have network objects, the computer itself, and I can share stuff and so on and so forth. You can ask me, okay, so what's next? We are going to go back on Windows XP, and then we try to log in. Windows XP is ready, so we are going to try to log in. Now we'll not log in using the administrator, rather we are going to use Joanna, okay, and then we are going to use CNET. Remember, Joanna is created in the server, but this time around we're going to choose her here, and I'll put the password. Remember, Joanna is configured for her to change the password at the first logon. You are required to change the password for the first logon because that was the requirement we have set in the domain controller. So I can set a new password. Okay, once I do like this, your password has been updated. Okay, yeah, if you check, who is the user? Joanna Mutoni. Where do we have Joanna Mutoni? We have Joanna Mutoni in our Active Directory. Where? In our server. Where is the server? The server is here. And the Joanna who is logging in, she's actually here. So Joanna, I can decide and say, Joanna, if I do right click, it's taking forever to listen to my instructions, but nevertheless I have to be patient. I do right click, I can go on properties, I can do restriction, I can do account restriction, I can do logon hours, I can say, Joanna, today is Sunday, right? Today is Sunday, is it? Yes, today is Sunday 29th. I can say, Joanna is not allowed to log in Sunday the whole day. Though you may restrict, how do you restrict to log in? You deny. You may say, the whole day I don't want. You may want maybe to say before noon she's allowed to log in, then you permit, but maybe afternoon she's not allowed to log in. And we are in the hours where from 12 to 12 midnight. So this time she's not allowed to log in. You can still decide some other hours. You say this time I should not be allowed to log in as well. So if I ask you to deny some permissions, logon hours, you're going to deny according to the information that you want to define according to Monday, actually Sunday up to Saturday. Okay, since it may be, she may be Adventist, you may say also Saturday you're not allowed to log in, even Friday. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, you click OK, and then you can still say your password never expires. You can still say the password cannot change. Remember, in the server, when we were doing the wizard, they asked us these things. Okay, you can even say, Joanna, your password will end by 28th April in case you want to terminate her contract by this time. Or simply, you can even say, Joanna, you are allowed to log in only XP. That's the machine that we have currently. If we have other machines and I define XP only, that's the only machine she's allowed to log in. The rest, she's not allowed. Only what we have defined, she will be able to log into that specific machine. And I do apply, and then I do OK. Once I do like this, Joanna is not allowed to log in Sunday. We will have to do like this: gp update, then you do force for the policy to be implemented. Meanwhile, we can have this guy login, Chris, okay, so that at least we can see the effect of Joanna after Chris, and then we'll see what's next. Okay, I'll go back here. I log off. Okay, then I log in as Chris. Chris is not set to change his password at first logon, therefore he'll be able to log in with no difficulties. Okay, so let's change the user. We say Chris, and then we say we put the password, enter. This guy logs in, we know who that is, and guess what? Chris Johnny is able to log in. Okay, good. Now if you allow me, let me also log in once again as Joanna, then you see what happens. Let's log out as Chris, and then we log in as Joanna once again, so that we see if the restriction we have applied has taken place. Let me go back. I log in as Joanna. Joanna. Why am I be able? Was I be able to log in? Because the cookies, actually it's as if it has memorized her username and password, so I'll have to also perform gp update first, and then I restart my machine. Group policy update, then I do force. This is updating the group policy. It's going to pick the policy from the server, so that next time when I reboot, the machine will be able to pick the policy and then restrict Joanna from logging in, unless we are not Sunday here. Are we Sunday? We must cross-check. Otherwise, let me do like this, and then I do time. I do that. That Sunday 29th. We are Sunday. Okay. So this is okay. Sunday, the whole day, we are not allowed to log in. Okay, okay. This one is a bit ahead compared to my current time, but allow me to reboot. Restart. Okay, there we go. So while I'm restarting, we are waiting for Joanna policy to take place so that she does not log in. But meanwhile, we can do something else. As my machine reboots, we don't want to wait and waste time. Rather, I can go on the server and do something else. I introduce another concept as we wait for Joanna settings to take place. Okay. Now I can go on my C drive, and then I create a directory. I call it nets, and then okay, let me make it bigger like this. I call it nets. It's here. But before I go ahead and introduce a new concept, allow me to go here and look at what is happening with Joanna. Joanna, where is Joanna? Joanna, where are you? Here. Unfortunately, Joanna is not blocked, so we have to go on the server and once again look at our policy. Let me go back and look at the policy which we have just defined and make sure that we have that policy that binds Joanna to be blocked. Right click. We want to make sure that Joanna Sunday, she does not log into our computer system. Okay. Look at this. We have to make sure that this is Sunday 8 something. Sorry. Have to make sure that time and date is very much they sync in as far as client and server is concerned. um, I have to go on the client. Client is quite good. No, actually I'm trying to change. Oh, here it's AM, so there also I should make it AM. I thought this one is saying that it's PM. So this one is also actually it's accurate. Time is accurate. So I don't want to mess up. Okay. Now I go back to Joanna. I do right click. Joanna, right click. It's taking forever. Joanna, right click, and then I go to account, properties account. I go to properties, then I go to account, and then I go to log on hours. Oh, you see here, let me just deny the whole day. This is afternoon, and this is where we are actually. I wonder, let me deny the whole Sunday, though actually this is supposed to be, it's denied, okay. And since we fall, oh, I remember here it was AM. Haha. Remember, that's why you see here we are AM, and AM was allowed. Okay, you see this? If you remember, before it was like this, and it was blue, which means in the AM everybody's supposed to, she's supposed to access. So let me do like this. Let me allow in the afternoon, because my timetable here or my watch here is saying AM, and let me do AM. She's not supposed to log in, and I do like this, I do like this, and I do like this, and I do group policy update, GP update force. Okay, now you see the challenges you may experience. GP update force, and then after this I log off login, full stop. I log off, then log in, and then you see what happens. I log in. If it doesn't work, then I have to restart my machine. That means the policy was not allow me to restart. Then as it restarts, it's done actually. Then I do like this. I go back to Joanna. Wow, now here is our magic. Now our magic is done. Your account has time restriction that prevents you from logging in at this time. Please try again later. So which means our time is not allowing Joanna to log in. What about Chris? Chris has no time restriction. Chris will be able to log in because he has all his time to log in and everything. So with this, allow me to jump quickly to another concept whereby I created the directory. What do I want to do? I want to make sure that this directory is available to the client, so that assume I'm here, assume we are at Gishushu, we are starting from the 3rd floor or even the 1st floor, but someone wants to move some files in the 2nd or 3rd floor. We are in the 1st floor, someone wants to move some files to the 2nd or 3rd floor, even to the receptionist. What you can do, assuming that server, the same way you see it, Windows XP is here, the server is here. You see there's a distance, okay? There's some distance. Now what you do, we can decide to do like this. We can go on the server, and then we say, on the server, I want to do like this. I want to share. You can do share. You are sharing. You are giving capability for someone else to access your files while you are away. How many people do you allow? You can allow as many as you want, and you have to give permissions. You have to give, if you decide to give everyone permission, it's on your own risk, because everybody is going to access. Or you can decide to remove it, and you only give Joanna check name. Okay, Joanna, give full rights, and I also add Chris. Chris check name, because they are in the Active Directory, immediately they are there. So I can give full, and then if they are added, I do apply, I do okay. This one is also given full rights. I do okay, and then I do okay. Immediately I have, you see this one is different from this one because this one has got hand, which means it is shared. For your information, I may add a notepad file showing that testing networks. Testing networks, you see, I don't want to change I don't want to change the extension. Rather, I can do like this. Rename testing networks. Now, once I do like this, remember this one is empty. Someone from the reception may want to use my what? My network drive. So I'll go on the client. Maybe Chris has logged in. Who is logged in? It's Mr. Chris. So what can I do so that Chris accesses my file? I go on my in run, then I do like this. I type the IP address of the server. I type the IP address of the server. It's .2. If I do like this, immediately I have my nets plus some other default shared files, directories actually, and then I do like this, right click, I map it. I want to map my network drive, can give it any letter I want, and I do finish. Once I do finish, if I open my computer, I have what you call network drive. It looks like a hard disk, but it's not a hard disk. It's actually a network drive. So if I go inside, I have my testing.net. So I can go inside and I say, oh, this is so cool, you know. Actually, networks is cool stuff. That's why I like it. So once you save it, you're saving it from the, actually you can replace it, no problem. Make sure you have file name correct. I can even save it under another name. Save it as testing net. So okay, you see you're putting another file, which is okay. Then I go on the server, assuming that someone is sending me some files. I go on the server, I do like this, I go in the directory, and I am happy. I have my network drive, and I have my file, and vice versa. You see, I can write network is cool, and I can send in more files, more whatever that you want to send, and this is how you actually send stuff on the network. Last but not least, you may want your server to be accessed from the what? From the client. Maybe you want to administer it. I'm in the office, but I don't want to go in the server room. I can go ahead and do like this, properties, and then go to remote, and then allow remote to desktop, allow users to connect to me remotely, and turn on remote desktop. And if I do like this, apply okay, I can go on the client once again and have my server. I call my screen. I can go here, I type MSTSC. If I do like this, you see I'm doing what you call a remote desktop connection. Remember, I'm combining a couple of things, so you need to be sorting yourself. You look at the Active Directory first, how to create users, how to block users, how to do everything, and then you're going to be closing task number 1. Undertaking task number 2, you are going to be sharing something on the server, and then be able to have it mapped on the client. You can be able to share files back and forth. Task number 3, you are going to enable remote desktop on the server, and then you go on the client, and then you can be able to type the IP address of the what? 168.10.2. That is the IP address of the server, and immediately I have my server. What can you do? You log in as the administrator, as long as you know the password for the administrator, and immediately you know you put issue at 123 exclamation. And guess what? I have my server. What can you do on the server when you are on the client actually? Guess what? You can even shut down the server. If I shut down the server, man, the server is down. I can shut it down without touching it. I can shut it down without touching it. See what happens. See, my server is going down, and I did not shut it from the server itself. I shut it down from the client. You see, I shut it down from the client. If you remember well, I shut it down from the client. Actually, I would have administered the server anyhow, but since I'm closing this session, I wanted to shut it so that you see actually that you can be able to administer. You have full rights on the server in as far as remote desktop is concerned. And with this, marks the end of tonight's lecture. And go have fun, go implement this, and in the course of the week, I'll be sending in another video to combine Windows and Red Hat, because next week I want us to start working on the project. Okay, great. Have a good evening, and stay home, stay safe. I love every one of you, and I miss I miss each one of you, of course, and we hope to keep in touch after the lockdown, which I think it's going to be soon. But meanwhile, let us remain online and do interaction. I'll see if I can schedule some Zoom meeting maybe. Tonight I thought I would do one, but I was caught up with the time. So hope to remain in touch, and take care everyone, and hope to see you soon.